So, if we're discussing different styles of art throughout the ages of humankind, we should start at the beginning, right? Start with the earliest artwork ever made by any humans ever. And so, if we take a look thousands and thousands of years ago at the art that was made then, we see things like this cave painting where, what is it a picture of? It's a picture of some hunters chasing a buffalo with a spear. It's a picture of hunting. Archaeologists over the years have found caves like this around the world that show us that human beings have been making art for a very, very long time. Now, we don't know if these ancient humans made art on, they probably didn't have paper because you have to, that's an involved process on how to make paper. But they might have painted on rocks, they might have painted on tree bark, or there are lots of things that they might have painted on. But we just don't know because those things don't all last. But we have these caves where they've painted on the rocks on the inside of the cave, and so we can see that they definitely did make art thousands of years ago. And the artwork that they made was all related to things they had to do to stay alive. Imagine if you were an ancient caveman. How do you stay alive? You hunt the buffalo so that you can eat and so that you can use its fur to make clothing to keep warm in the winter. You forage for berries and nuts in the wild, and you come together as groups of people to work together to make all of this happen, little tribes. And those are exactly the things we see in these cave paintings. So in the interest of acting like those ancient humans here, I want us to think about what we have to do right now to stay alive and keep ourselves healthy and safe. I know you're all sick of hearing about it by now, but you have to wear your mask and you have to stay 6 feet away from other people in order to stay safe. That's what we do to keep ourselves safe and healthy right now. Let's draw that. Let's draw people wearing masks and staying 6 feet apart from each other. Okay, well, maybe I'll start down on this side of my page. If I start in the middle, then I might, have people too close together. So I'm going to start off on one side, and maybe I'll draw a little Sally, So I'm going to draw a face. I'm going to give Sally some cute hair. And her face is going to have a mask on, and so that's going to kind of come up over the nose, and then it's going to kind of curve around under, and then she's going to have her eyes and some eyelashes. And maybe I'll put a couple of lines across that mask. Maybe I'll show the edges of the mask, but keep those other lines coming to the edges of her face where it's wrapping around her ears. And then let's give Sally a neck. And maybe she's wearing a cute dress of some kind. So let's give Sally a dress. Maybe she's got her shoulders and her arms coming down. Maybe she's got her arms behind her back because she's trying to keep her hands to herself. She's trying not to touch other people. She's trying not to play tag or something. And then let's have the rest of her legs and her little feet. Maybe she'll have some little shoes on. And so that's little Sally wearing her mask, and she's got to be like 6 feet away from other people. So maybe, like, she can't have her best friend standing right next to her. Her best friend's going to have to be over here. And so that's little Sally. Maybe little Jill is going to be up here. And maybe little Jill is going to have some curly hair. So the way I'm going to draw this face is I'm going to start with the U shape. And then her hair, if her hair is curly hair, might look something like that. Again, she's going to have a mask on. Little Jill is going to have a mask on. And so I'm going to have that curve up over the nose, and then down under the mouth, and then show the edges of the mask, and then draw the lines across the mask. And then give little Jill some eyes with some eyelashes. And again, Jill is going to have a neck, and maybe Jill is just going to be wearing like a t-shirt and some shorts. So let's show the collar of her shirt around her neck, show the sleeves of her shirt. And then some shorts or something. So something like that. And then the rest of her leg and her little shoes. Oh yeah, and her arms. Again, let's just making it easy by putting her arms behind her back. They're all just holding their hands behind their back. They're not allowed to touch each other. They're not allowed to play. It's kind of sad, isn't it? Maybe, you know, I've drawn 2 girls here. Maybe I want to draw a boy as well. Maybe I'll draw a little John. So, you know, maybe for John, I'll start his head the same way with a sort of U shape. But then his hair, you know, I don't know, some boys have long hair, but most don't. So what I'm actually going to do for John is have his hair parted at the side instead of at the middle. See how that's off to the side? Yeah. And then John is going to have a mask. It's going to curve up over his nose and then down under his mouth. And then we'll see the sides of the mask, and then we'll see some lines across the mask. And now John's eyes, I'm not going to give John eyelashes. I mean, boys do have eyelashes, but we usually only draw them in pictures of girls. So just to make John look more like a boy and less like a girl, I'm not going to draw the eyelashes. But I do need to draw him a neck, and maybe he's going to be wearing a hoodie. So the way that's going to work is it's going to have longer sleeves. So let's draw the body of the shirt, and then just his arms going back. You know what, maybe instead of having his arms behind his back like the other 2 do, his arms, maybe he's got pockets, or like one big pocket on his hoodie. So let's put that pocket across the middle of the hoodie, and then let's draw his arms going into that pocket, and then let's draw the rest of his body under there, the rest of his hoodie, the bottom of his hoodie there. And then the hood will kind of be bunched up behind his head and behind his neck right here. And then there'd be like little drawstrings, right, that you could pull to tighten the hood. Now, he's not wearing the hood. The hood is just around his neck, right behind his neck. And then he's going to have some long pants on. And we're just going to see his shoes. sticking out from there. And so we've drawn some friends who really want to play with each other and talk to each other and have a good time together, but in order to stay safe and in order to stay healthy, they have to stay apart from each other and they have to wear their little masks. Just like the ancient humans, in order to stay safe and stay healthy, they had to hunt and gather berries and come together in groups. Now, if you wanted to, you could color this picture in. You might even draw like a playground around them or a classroom around them or something like that. I'm just going to take a little bit of time here to color the people. I don't necessarily want to color the whole background. That's not really the important part of this picture. One thing, if you're choosing between using markers or crayons to color, one of the things that crayons do that markers, my marker box here only has 8 colors. My crayon box has 24 colors. If I had a box of markers that had like 20 or 30 different colors, then that would be a different story. But what I don't have a really good skin color in my markers. I mean, for someone who has darker skin, I might have a brown, except my brown dried out, so I don't actually even have a brown marker. But even if I did have a brown marker, a brown crayon is going to be even better for coloring somebody with darker skin because, as you remember, we've learned how to use our crayon to push hard and make things dark, or to use it lightly and make things not as dark. And that's an important thing to consider when you're coloring skin, because even people who have dark skin, it's not always like super dark, right? So let's kind of figure out some skin tones here. I'm just going to use this apricot color to color John, to color his face. Notice I'm taking my time to color around his mask, around his eyes. I'm trying not to go over the lines. I do go between these two lines because that's like this part of the mask. This is like the edge of the mask. You get what I'm saying? Anyway, so I'm coloring his face around the mask. I also want to color his neck. Now, I don't see his hands or his legs or his feet, so I don't need to color any other skin on this person. So that's like somebody who has lighter skin. I just used this apricot, or maybe you have a crayon that's called peach. Now, what if I want somebody who's got darker skin? I'll use the brown. And I might not push super, super hard. I want to be careful to color around my lines, around the eyeballs, around the mask, without going over the lines. But I don't necessarily want to push super, super hard. I mean, some people do have really dark skin, so it really depends on who you're trying to draw and what kind of skin you're trying to draw. But, that's pretty dark even with me not pushing hard. Now, I also need to make sure, since her arms are showing, I need to color her arms with her skin color. And her legs as well. The bottom of her legs is showing, so I want to show, not her feet because she's wearing shoes, but down here at the bottom of her legs, under her dress. That skin should be the same as her face. Now, what if there's somebody whose skin is in the middle, maybe, a mix of the two, or just lighter brown? I can actually mix my crayons together. Check this out. I'm going to start by being very gentle and not putting much of the brown at all. Just a very light touch of brown. And I could leave it like that if that's the color I want. But if I want to mix the colors together, I start with my darker color but do it very, very gently. And then I take my lighter color and I mix it on top by pushing down a little. So here I'm pushing down with my peachy color, my apricot color, but it's blending in with the brown that I already put down. And you see how that is a little darker than John's skin, but it's a little darker than, lighter than, what did I say, Sally? I can't even remember their names anymore. Anyway, I need to make sure I do that for the arms and the legs as well. I did that very, very gently with the brown crayon. My darker color I use very softly. And then I go back on top of it and blend it with the lighter color by pushing hard with the lighter color. So this is a cool little trick. You can blend colors together and make whatever colors you need. And so we've got dark skin, in the middle skin, and light skin. And you know, you don't have to make 3 different skin colors. You can make all of them darker, all of them lighter, all of them in the middle. It's totally up to you. You figure out what kind of skin you want to do. And then we want to color their hair, their masks, their clothing, etc. Maybe this little girl's got some really dark hair. I'm going to use the black to color her hair in. And I'm noticing that her eye, especially that eye, is kind of small, so it's getting a little bit difficult to see with all these things going on around it. It's tempting to go in with my black crayon and make it, you know, a darker circle, and maybe I'll do that. I can't really erase the crayon to go back in there and make it a bigger, so I think what I'll do is just make her whole eye darker, or you know what? Maybe I'll give her some sunglasses. Yeah, because it was just, her eyes were so small they were hard to see. So I gave her some sunglasses, cover it up. Sometimes with our artwork we make mistakes or you know, things don't turn out quite the way we had wanted them to. And so we can draw over things or fix things in lots of different ways, and you got to figure out what works for your artwork. Okay. Her dress, maybe she's going to be wearing a pretty yellow dress. Yellow is my favorite color, by the way. I really love yellow. So I'm going to give this girl a pretty yellow dress. I don't know, you decide what you want. Maybe you want, you know, a blue dress with some pink flowers on it. I don't know, it's totally up to you. And you know what, she's going to match. She's going to have some yellow shoes to match her yellow dress. That's pretty. And maybe John here, my little boy here, is going to have a red hoodie, a red hoodie. Now, when we start coloring this hoodie, the lines for the sleeves might start to disappear a little bit. The lines for the drawstring might disappear a little bit, but we can always go back and darken those lines up later with a black crayon or a black marker if those lines disappear. So I think I'll go ahead and do that. I think I'll grab my black marker, and since we want to be able to see like where that pocket is, there, now we can see that pocket. And now we can see his arms going into the pocket, and we can see the drawstring of his hoodie. Right? We can always go back after and do black outlines for anything that needs it. Oh, you know what I forgot to do on this girl over here? I forgot to color her mask. Maybe I should do a yellow mask to match her yellow dress and her yellow shoes. I like to wear, you know, a mask that matches the color of my shirt most days. So why not let the people in my drawings do that too? All right, and then yeah, I can trace over with that black marker those outlines. And doesn't that just make those pop, right? We've talked about contrast before. Okay, back to John over here. Maybe he's going to be wearing some blue jean pants, and so I'll just color his legs blue. And then maybe he's wearing some black shoes, so I'll color his shoes black. And then I got to figure out what color to make his hair. Maybe I'm going to make his hair yellow, like he's got really bright blonde hair. And anyway, I'm just going to finish mine up. You decide what kinds of colors you want to use. It's totally up to you. You can watch me and copy me, or you can make your own, however you want. And as I put the finishing touches on this girl's hair, the outlines on this girl's hair, I just wanted to kind of mention here that what I chose to do was give her a white mask and white shoes. And, you know, there's really no wrong way to do this. You decide, like I said earlier. But I think I am going to call that finished for mine.